So no picture today, but it wasn't a very good model of doing things anyway. And also I have to say I didn't have the game prepared, so I had to download it in a pinch. The fifth one. And also I'm getting Skyped. That's weird. Someone's confused about hitbox. That's understandable, I suppose. Oh wait, stupidly close the zip file, that's great. I don't care. No matter what it says, WinRAR is a free application, it does everything you need. You never have to buy anything. So I certainly hope it is going to run properly this time. This thing that I've never run before. Yes, I don't care. Run it at that high resolution.
G-R.
Oh boy. Apparently it had the brilliant idea of not making the audio skip when you unfocus the window, but anyway, I think it's time to stop the mystery, this non-existent mystery, and get on to the game. The game, of course, being Ben Jordan 5. And I'm sure a lot of you will like the premise of this, mainly the setting, for reasons you will see in just a moment. Yeah, it's not skipping anymore, so that's fantastic. This is Ben Jordan 5, and as you might have noticed, it is set in a certain country. Which you can tell just by looking at the background here. Actually, before I start the game proper, I might as well tell people in the forums that I'm live. And on the Skype thing. Because why not? There we have it. There might be some people coming in all of a sudden, but that is to be expected. So having done that, just might as well look at the update on the gaming thread. If it will load. Apparently Lambda's giving advice about Ultima, so that's something. But anyway, I think it's time for the actual game now. This is Ben Jordan 5. So what's it about? Let's watch the intro and find out. Oh wait, this isn't Japan. Have I been lied to? Well, Ben seems to be hanging out near a grave. That's cheery. Apparently it's Mary Blaine's grave from the third case, who was killed because of him, and suddenly the hand comes up and grabs him. That's great. And apparently it's a recurring dream he's had every single night. At least he's drawn a little better now. Just a little, but It's not quite as MS Painty as before. It has a bit more shading this time. And also getting a phone call with a split screen thing apparently. From Simon and Alice, whom you might remember from the previous case. They're also kind of better drawn this time, at least in the character portrait department. So they want to meet up. Apparently there's some murders going on. No one knows who's doing it. They've been dubbed the ghost murders. And they're all interested. And I don't think we really caught that, but they're going to Japan. Ben and Alice, I think, are going to London first, and from there they're going to Japan. Because, you know, that doesn't mean they'll have to travel more distance, no sir. Might as well do the round the world trip. So yes, getting more snazzy intros as time goes on, apparently. Case 5, Land of the Rising Dead, as opposed to the Rising Sun, which some of you might have caught. That's subtle pun there. Notice too the guy with the newspaper in front of them. Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? But I don't think that will ever be addressed. And sadly the rustic charm of the hotel they're going to doesn't include ninjas. So day 1. Day 1 of this investigation that they're not authorized to do in a foreign country. Which no one's hired them for and no one's paying them for. But he wants to take the diplomatic route. So we're in this hotel, this sort of ryokan sort of thing. Looks very traditional. Got some bamboo mat to sleep on. Which apparently means the hotel room is very cheap. Got a lantern hanging from the ceiling, a small television, a laptop that Simon brought along. There's a door outside and the bathroom door. So what could the bathroom hide? Well, there's this robe. There's a bathtub. There's a toilet built into the ground. Mirror, table, and a newspaper. Can we take the robe? Apparently we literally stuffed the whole thing into our pants and now we're carrying a robe. Along with Percy Quentin Jones' card, which we have for some reason, still, because we never cleaned out our clothes. And apparently the black robe is Simon's, and we also have our notepad. We can check it here, I think. It's just day 1 right now. So what's on the newspaper? You quickly realize you can't understand a word of it because it's in Japanese. But apparently the photos let us deduce that it's about the latest murder, as opposed to Takeshi's castle or anything. And the lead investigator is a guy named Yoshi. So even though we couldn't read anything, we could manage to gather that much information. So let's see if Simon has anything to say about this. About this laptop you brought along. apparently Simon's pretty good with computers. Despite the fact that Otto was the guy that was making research back then. And he claims to be a hacker. That's great. And about the ghost murders, he apparently heard about them by accident, looking into someplace nice to travel, and found about them when he was researching Japan. And apparently we're in Osaka. But they're not very keen on doing touristic stuff. And he's very sarcastic, that's very nice. And apparently Alice isn't yet here. Apparently there's something going on between Ben and Alice. Hello, Spiffy. So there's... apparently Ben's having some PTSD from the time with the witches. But I don't think we got any points from that. We only have 3 out of a maximum of 108 points. That's a unique number. I wonder if it's related at all to where we are. The glorious land of Nippon. So this is our map. Apparently this is Osaka. We could go to the hotel, or we could visit the police department. Here's a desk sergeant. And some wanted posters. So let's see what this guy has to say. What can you tell me about these ghost murders I've been hearing about? So he can't discuss that with us, apparently. And about the Inspector Yoshi. So we can't really bullshit our way in. Doesn't look like. Yep. Now that guy has slowly shuffled his way in and out of the desk. He has told us that we cannot see the inspector. So what about the city? Osaka seeing a higher rate of crime apparently, so we should be careful. Apparently this guy's name is Shijo Kurosaka. And he seems to be your ordinary salaryman, except for the fact that he's a cop. So we seem to be stuck here, but fortunately we do have this card. Percival's card. So let's see if that gets us anything. Professor Percival Quentin Jones told me to come see you. Yes, shuffle out of the screen and slowly shuffle back into frame. Now that we've dropped the name of an Oxford criminology professor, we can apparently visit the detective. Because, you know, the Japanese are known for being friendly and accepting to foreigners and letting them get involved in their own, you know, intimate national business. So get a bulletin board with some offices or notices printed on it or pinned on it. There, I can't talk right now. A counter against the wall. Hamato Yoshi. You know, apparently even though Ben said that he can't read Japanese, he knows what's on this plate. Apparently he thinks this looks like a theater poster. It's a strange poster. This plaque is written in Japanese and English because, you know, All official documents in Japan are written in English, conveniently. So let's see if we can talk to the inspector. This music tells us all we need to know about this character, I'm sure. Apparently this guy has spoken to Percival. That's kind of weird. So we got some filing cabinets full of police paperwork, I'm sure. A computer, a bulletin board with a map on it, and the inspector himself. He's got very pale skin apparently. Doesn't look like he's slept in a while. And a phone. So let's talk to him about these murders. He seems to be the lead inspector on the case, and apparently whoever's committing them is untraceable. Little to no evidence is left. And apparently there are rumors that they are being committed by something supernatural. Luckily we are a paranormal investigator, but he doesn't believe in superstitions. There have been 4 murders marked on this map, and they don't seem to have a pattern. And all the victims are businessmen, that's a pattern. So he's got their names in the evidence department. That's something to be remembered. What can he tell us about Osaka? Well, he's glad he's not in Tokyo, because apparently it's way busier than Osaka. They only get 1 day off every 4 years. Apparently Yoshi is overworked, underpaid, and long overdue for a vacation. He hasn't been to see his family in a long time, as is customary of salarymen, I think. Well, no. Usually they only see their family when they come home to sleep at night, but they don't really have a lot of time together. So we were told that there's some information in the evidence lockup, so let's see if they will talk to us. Just let ourselves in. Can't see that from here apparently, even though we can, because we have X-ray vision unlike Ben. So let's see if the attendant will help us. About these ghost murders, doesn't seem to know anything aside from what's on the paper. Doesn't get any inside information apparently. And to get evidence, we must get this form signed by the lead inspector in the case. So that's our next quest, I'm sure. About the city. Apparently the attendant thinks it's a nice city, but the crime rate has been increasing. And his job is apparently not too interesting. So let's see if the inspector will sign this form for us. Wait a minute, we can look at the notes on the bulletin board. Either Japanese or chicken scratch. That's not racist at all, Ben. Officers at Akko's surprise parties in 1 week. I wonder if that's a Ring reference. Nothing to say about that, only that it's written in Japanese. And we got this. A note written in English and Japanese and signed by Inspector Yoshi. It says, please stop leaving your radios on the counter. Apparently there's some security leaks here. So let's see if the inspector will sign our document. Hey, what's up? No, apparently not. Maybe if we give it to him with this ER form. Oh, but he can't allow that. He's very keen on the rules, and apparently he cannot let us see any of that. So that basically means we're going to have to do that in a different way. As you might recall, this note has his signature. So, you know, now that we have a note with the inspector's signature and this form right here, let's see if our computer maverick Simon will help us out with this. With this. With this. No, maybe we have to do it ourselves. Oh, yes, we didn't have to come here at all. That's great. So we falsified an officer's firm. We haven't been in Japan for a day and we've already committed a felony. That's great. I'm sure this is very, very appreciated. I'm sure they won't be angry when and if they find out. So here's the signed requisition form. And with it we can look at the list of victims. Is this the list? Yes, it is. We actually have to pick it up. Pick up the list, maybe? Nope, we can't remove the list from the area, so... write down the names, maybe? Yep. So we did that right in front of the guy, and apparently he didn't even care. Now we have confidential police information in our pockets, and we're just lugging it around. And no one's going to say anything to us about that. Ben, could you please leave the screen? There you go. So maybe now our computer expert Simon can help us with this. Who are the names? Apparently the game doesn't want to tell us. That's great. See if these four names are connected. The men were all heads of major corporations. That's a pretty big connection. And they all ran in the same social circle as two men. A guy named Shinobi, that's subtle, and another guy named Yamamoto. Both of which are nearby. So that's mighty suspicious, I would say. So we got murders going on with the heads of major Japanese corporations in Osaka. So should we visit Yamamoto or Shinobi? Let's visit Yamamoto first. This sure is an opulent fountain. That sure is, you know, a pre-made font, which, though I can't remember which one it is right now. Elevator doors, a call button, and a clerk hiding behind a paper. Can we call the elevator? No, it seems to be out of service. So let's see what the clerk has to say. He's too engrossed for small talk, but we will ask him some questions. So you might not recognize him right away, but we have seen him before. He was working at the overpriced coffee shop, you know, not Starbucks, at Dunsberg. And apparently he did take our advice to take a loan from his parents, and he left the US, and now he's working here. So he's living the dream, clearly. So about these ghost murders. He doesn't seem to know about them. He can't read Japanese, even though he lives in Japan, so he sticks to the comics. So about this corporation, run by someone called Hiroshi Yamamoto. And he's only seen him once, because he's apparently quite reserved. So apparently Yamamoto's not in right now. So what can you tell us about Osaka? It's not bad as a city, but apparently he wants to go to the nearby villages, which are supposed to be nice. So are you happy with this job? Not terribly apparently, so we can't really do anything here. So let us visit the other corporation, Hello Kiss. Let us go to Shinobi Corp now. Apparently the lobby was empty, but we found out where his office is. And here we are. Kind of a tacky form of decor, but it is fairly minimalist. Apparently we can read that this says Shinobi, even though Bent has said multiple times he cannot read Japanese. We keep being able to read signs. Something which may or may not be come in tells us to come in. So here we are. Apparently his English is not so good, but he'll try to help. So there's this painting. Apparently an abstract print of a samurai. The window with... Actually it's not a window but a painting apparently. And here is Shinobi himself. A stressed middle-aged businessman. So have you heard about the murders? He knows they have incorrect information. He thinks it's the living dead. Being done by zombies. Apparently someone's seen the murders. And he seems convinced that the zombies have been killing these people. So what about the cult you mentioned? Oh, a cult that dresses in all black and moves around only at night? Has a tall, pale, bald guy been leading them? Apparently not. So you know, the villain of case 3 is not present here. So that's a relief apparently. And about the murder victims. Apparently he doesn't know any of them personally. Oh, the newspapers have not released the names of the victims. But they were Hideo Tanaka, Sadako Matsumoto, Kenji Soriyama and Ryoko Matsuri. But... oh, apparently he knew them somehow and he doesn't want to tell us how. But that was an interesting bit of information. So about this Shinobi Corp. They develop machinery for car companies. They're a parts subcontractor. So about this city. There are a lot of underdeveloped corporate areas apparently, but the competition is getting big. And about himself, he wanted to have his own company and now he does. But he doesn't have children. So that was all he had to say to us apparently. So apparently the murdered have a certain connection besides all being big businessmen. Well, I think that was a pretty, you know, fruitful day of information gathering. So I think we should go back to the hotel now. Yes, that shinobi guy seems convinced that the murders have been committed by a zombie cult. So that's something. But something about him did seem a little off. It's 6:42 in the evening, but he's quite sleepy because of the jet lag apparently. So they're going to hang out for a bit, so that they don't fall asleep right away. Apparently he had sake and he doesn't want to do that again. And Simon left us a crime scene investigation kit, and he's off to get Alice from the airport, I think. So let's check out this kit that he left behind for us. What's inside it? It's even marked CSI. What's inside it? Okay, we got a set of fingerprinting tools and a syringe for taking liquid samples. So now that we've scored this nifty investigation kit, let's go visit Shinobi again. Maybe he'll have something new to say now. Yep, that animation still takes a few moments. No answer, it says. That's a shame. Actually, I have the feeling we might have missed something. Remember how on the first day we did pick up the newspaper from the bathroom and found out that the detective's name was Yoshi. Maybe you'll have an equally important piece of information now. Let's check out the newspaper. October 25th. There's a photo of Mr. Shinobi on the bottom. Maybe now that we've seen him on the newspaper, we'll be able to visit him. Even though, you know, his office seemed pretty quiet when he went to see him just now. Maybe things will have changed. Uh-oh, so this guy's here now. Apparently everything is not okay. Apparently something happened to Shinobi. Namely that someone stuck a katana in his back. This happened sometime between last night and early this morning. So we can have a look around as long as we don't touch anything. So we got a long katana with an elaborately carved handle, which was used to murder this guy. That painting is still a thing. That painting is also still a thing. He has the same description as before. Maybe he has something to say about this. Oops. Apparently the security in the building was kind of lacking. And Shinobi apparently knew he was going to die. No, I don't think he is spiffy since, you know, he was in the hotel and he was with Simon the whole night, so he does have an alibi. So we don't know who could be doing the murders, even though Shinobi was convinced that the culprits were a cult of zombies. But he still doesn't believe in the paranormal, so he is the Japanese Percy, apparently. Is these zombies a physical being, so that could be traced? So it could be someone acting like a zombie, even though that doesn't really make sense. Though hello, spy. So apparently we can empathize with the guy that has to see dead bodies all the time. We can try touching the sword, but we shouldn't disturb the evidence or the body. So having concluded our series of questions, maybe we should go and try to investigate something else. Let's see if Yamamoto's in. That seems like a good course of action. Oops. Actually, hang on a moment. I just remember that we do have this, well, we can't access the inventory here, but we're gonna have to come back here, because when Ben gets out of the elevator, and we can look at our inventory, we do have this fingerprint set kit. So let's see if we can take some prints off of the sword's handle. There we go. It's a very small hitbox for that sword. Apparently there is a print. But apparently it's useless, because we found the fine fingerprints and apparently none of them match the database. And he doesn't sound very confident that it will lead to anything, so we get to keep it. Even though it was, on the murder weapon, he doesn't seem convinced that it will lead to anything. So now let's go to visit Yamamoto. See if he's in today. Hello, Biohazard. What's going on? So the desk clerk whom we remembered, apparently. If you recall, this guy was in case 2. He was the coffee shop worker. Apparently we have more stuff to talk to him about today. Apparently he can relate to the zombies because he was working at that coffee shop. So is Yamamoto in today? He doesn't even ask if we have an appointment this time, just tells us what his floor is. And he doesn't know anything about the murders still. Nobody will get past him apparently, even though he puts his newspaper right back up. So he did tell us where to visit Yamamoto, so let's see if we can talk to him now. And here he is. Wow. Look at all that shading. He welcomes us to his office. He does have this abstract portrait of himself right behind him. Bunch of Japanese books and a banner. I'm pretty sure what's written on this banner is not Yamamoto, because this symbol right here, when written as a kanji, it has 2 pronunciations. One of them is chikara, I think. It means power, but I don't think the other pronunciation is Yama. That is the mountain kanji, and it has a different appearance. So after that bit of trivia, let's talk to this guy. Have you heard about the ghost murders? He doesn't seem to know anything about them beside what's in the paper, but has he heard of Shinobi's murder? Which was in today's paper. Yes, all the victims have been heads of major corporations in Osaka, and you're the head of a major corporation, so maybe you should watch out. Yes, he says he will increase security. So what do you do here at Yamamoto Incorporated? Little bit of everything, he says. Various products and a little internal business. And he doesn't really want to go into detail. So, what can he tell us about this city? It's a great place to start a business because it's not as competitive as Tokyo, but it's not as dead as Kyoto. But the competition has been growing, as Shinobi told us yesterday before he died. Apparently he studied business in the United States, and he realized his dream of owning his own company. And the next step is expansion. What's on this rock? Let's not spoil what's to come there in the chat there. Wink wink. So how do we get it? Ben, could you please get out of the office? Oh wait, you have to press the call button. I'll bet. That opens up the elevator, which gives off a glowing light, even though you can still see the end of Ben's arm as the elevator door closes. So I'm not sure if we have anything else to do here. So let's go outside. Ben, please go outside. This sure is Yamamoto Incorporated, and you know, the streets seem kind of deserted for a downtown area. Notice the lively music as this colorful character approaches us. How does he know our name? Apparently we very famous paranormal investigator. Big famous American star. And this guy, whoever he is, wants us to star in his show. Apparently people here will love it. But we refuse the opportunity. Because we are oh god. This guy seems pretty concerned with having us appear on this show. But apparently we don't have anything to do with him. We don't want anything to do with him. So let's see what's going on back at the hotel. Oh, Alice has finally arrived. And Shinobi's been murdered, which Alice apparently told him about because she can read Japanese. Because she studied it in high school, so therefore she is the Japanese expert here. Apparently there's also been a series of unexplained deaths in a nearby village called Asuka, which is only about an hour away. So Alice is going to Asuka with Ben right now, because there's no time to waste. And Simon's teasing them because apparently he can see that they have a thing for each other. Apparently this is a pretty impressive looking place with all these photorealistic graphics. And because this is a rural village, we'll be hard pressed to find anyone who speaks English, apparently. So there's this lion guard statue, this kid. A scruffy young man sitting on these steps who doesn't look very happy. Alice, the parapsychology major. We could head deeper into the village, or we could talk to this guy. So they're totally speaking Japanese now. Oh, that's a portrait. Apparently his name's Noboru. And he's not in a mood to be friendly because he doesn't want to tell us. He doesn't want to tell a white lady and her goofy boyfriend. He doesn't know what parapsychology is, but we're going to calmly explain it to him. So, we're one of those wackos. And we managed to learn that his dad died recently, as part of a series of mysterious deaths. Someone just drops dead for no reason. But they don't want to stay in their graves. Oh dear, could we be getting closer to the zombie mystery? Apparently they purified the body, but the dead don't want to stay dead. The graves have fresh dirt from where the dead have crawled out. So we can't really cheer him up, since his dad has apparently come back as a zombie. And this purification ritual is performed by a Buddhist priest, but he doesn't know what it's about, what the procedure is, that is. And about the village, he thinks it's cursed, since apparently he doesn't remember anything good happening here. There's not enough food, not enough jobs, and now the deaths. And he says that time's just an illusion. That's deep. So we did manage to learn that there's someone in the village waiting for a Buddhist priest, and they have lit a lantern outside their house to signify that they're waiting for him. So let's calmly wait as Ben and Alice walk all the way over here. We can look at this bush of dried grass. This other bush, not even sure if it's dried grass. I'm not big on Japanese horticulture. So now that we've gone through that, that beautiful scenic screen in which there was nothing else to do, we got a house with a tiny fenced-off yard, a door, a lit stone lamp, which means this must be the house where they're waiting for the Buddhist priest. An idea is starting to brew in my mind, but first let's inquire after the people in this house. So what about the village? Apparently they're very eager to talk to us because they quickly tell us that it's not what it used to be. Can you tell us anything about the mysterious deaths? No. She doesn't want to talk about that because she lost her husband. He was apparently in perfect health one day and dead the next. No one understands what's going on. Apparently she speaks perfect Japanese, that's a thing. She studied high school Japanese, so now she speaks perfect Japanese. But yes, she just said that they're waiting for the Buddhist priest. Zen Buddhist priest. But the priest is several hours late. What does he look like, I wonder? I assume he looks like any other priest. They wear black robes and large round bamboo hats. Hint, hint. I wonder if we can make Ben and Alice talk to each other. We can. What does Alice think about the ghost murders? She's not convinced that the police are following the right track. As for the deaths in the village, she just wants to keep investigating. As for the village itself, she can appreciate the peace. Apparently it reminds her of a few places in California. And the big city, she hasn't had a chance to look around, but it seems interesting. They want to explore it in detail once the case is over. She's been taking time off from school to take on some, professional experience. So I think we can go further into the village, I think. Yeah, there we go. There's a hotspot. Into the graveyard area. Japanese characters on these gravestones, which apparently look... Yes, a leaning grave piece, so that's very nice then. Apparently look like they were laid there recently. That looks fresh, as if its occupant had crawled out. And there's this basket full of flowers. So let's rob the dead. Because we rationalize it by saying that there isn't anyone left in the grave. So now we have a basket full of flowers, which we can empty. So now that we have both this and this, we can assemble our own Buddhist priest costume. Hopefully this doesn't screw up our karma. So apparently we're not supposed to dress as a priest at a reasonable distance, but only when we're standing right next to the mourning people. That I'm sure that'll go over well with them. So let's see if we can do so now. He's not going to start putting on the disguise until after he's knocked on the door. That's great. So now that we're impersonating a priest, we're going to examine the body while Alice distracts this Japanese lady. We can look at the wall design. We don't know what any of that says. So let's see if we can go deeper into this house, if there's any places we can walk off to. Well, it's not to the right side of the screen, clearly. Maybe the left side? No, we can't leave the house without Alice. Oh, this leads to another room. That was actually the exit. So yes, here is the dead guy. The boy's father. But there are no visible symbols of foul play on the body, so that's interesting. Doesn't seem to be much else in this room aside from the candles, so let's have an up-close and personal look at the body. With this fingerprint set, maybe... Come on. Come on. Just take prints of the dead man. That's not something you want to do. Stab him with a needle. Apparently we will do that. That's kind of weird. We won't take his fingerprints, but we will take a blood sample. That makes a lot of sense. So since it doesn't seem like there's anything else we can do, let's get out of here. Apparently we know the priest well enough to speak for him. That's great. So now that we've impersonated a sacred man, let's go ahead and, you know, try to do something with the blood sample we scored from the body. Apparently the family man was a rare sword collector. Wink wink. So business here concluded. Let's head back to Osaka and have the same nightmare as before. That's great. Somehow I don't think we had this nightmare on the night of the first day because we were too drunk. Yes, that's right, ambushbug. This case is set in glorious Nippon. Apparently Mary looks amazing for a dead woman. Things could have gone differently, but that's just life, you know. So see, some people would call this character development, but I'm not so sure. So she's talking derisively to us, you know, this person from our past. Isn't too thrilled to hear that we're still going on with our life, even after she died. Apparently Alice went back to Asuka to interview some of the locals. So we're back in business. I bet we have to read the newspaper again. Let's see what's on the front page today. October 26th. Alice has made several annotations because she's a gal pal. You know, Ben Jordan isn't so much better from Christian at sometimes, but apparently the newspaper talks about the ghost murders again. Very little progress has been made. But I bet the inspector will know something about this. You know, it sure is convenient that every single person that we have to talk to when Alice isn't around speaks English. Let's see if this guy will let us talk to the inspector again. Apparently he will, because we're not even allowed to talk to him anymore. Apparently we are welcome here forever. So let's see what's going on with this guy. Inspector Yoshi. How is the case going? It's not going anywhere. We haven't gotten any conclusive leads. But he seems to be interested in our theories. Shinobi died impaled with a katana, but the fingerprint they got off it doesn't match anyone in the database. So that's quite frustrating. So they haven't heard of the mysterious... They haven't heard of the mysterious deaths in Asuka, which we haven't went to. So there might be a link between those deaths and the murders here. Concerning these zombies. So he seems more interested now, but I don't think we can do anything else with him now. So let's see if Yamamoto's still doing alright, since he was in danger of being assassinated. Hopefully he's still doing fine. It's kind of weird that we haven't seen a single Maneki Neko in this case yet. That seems like it would be very Japanese. Let's see if he will talk to us some more. He will. We can ask him about the Enterprise again. They're doing very good, apparently. That's great. So what about the murders? He doesn't know anything else, but he does know about Shinobi's death, which we told him about. But we haven't made any more progress, it seems. And recommend some diversions, such as a wonderful sushi restaurant he goes to often. So we got recommended a restaurant by this guy. That's great. Alright, we have to use this thing. See if if you pay attention, you can kind of still see like a line of pixels of the screen, which belong to Ben's arm, even after the elevator doors close. That's a thing. Oh boy, I think the same thing's going to happen. A familiarly loud suit heads for us. So it's this guy again. Ben doesn't want to see him, but he's still asking us to come on the show. Please, Mr. Jordan, please come on the show. So we will go on the show if he will just leave us alone. Apparently that will happen tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. So now that we've been given the address of this sushi place, let's go ahead and investigate. Sure looks spiffy. There's aquariums, just like Yamamoto said. Colorful fish, which may or may not be the ones that end up on the menu. Some wall decorations, a curtain, and the sushi chef. You know, he might be actually. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a second to look that up, because that might be a reference to. It wouldn't surprise me. Gracious. Well, I can't find anything related to Mega Million and Japan, so I don't know, honestly. But that could be. So let's talk to the chef about the sushi bar. Apparently they're very ambitious. What can he tell us about the city? Apparently even though he lives here, presumably, he doesn't have much time to wander the city. And he doesn't want to talk about himself. Apparently Yamamoto's quite a regular here. He must really enjoy the food. And he even orders to his office. That's interesting. Oh, whoops. And we can have a look at the menu. The various choices we get here. We got surf and turf. A mix of flavors and today's special. And some chicken teriyaki. That sounds pretty great. For people who don't like sushi. And we have fugu. A highly toxic puffer fish found in the waters of Japan, only for the bravest of customers. And we can't sue the restaurant if we die. We could order this stuff. We sure could order all of this stuff. I could go for some chicken teriyaki right now. We've had worse, apparently. But I think we should save here just to see. Oh, hey, the lag is gone. Hope I don't die today. So I think what we have to do is fairly obvious. We have to sit down and order. Well, we can order everything, so why not? We'll go through all the food in order. Surf and turf is the most popular order, but he has the exact same reaction as before. Also, apparently we're... Oh, the guy has him... that kinda does look like him. Guy with a question mark suit. Let me see if we can find him on Google Images. So yeah, that does look like him. That probably is him in the... Let me just put that up here. In the purple question mark suit. That certainly looks like the guy in the game. So it's probably an intentional reference, you know, all things considered. So now that we have that little clarification,